Hello, everyone, and welcome back to
The
the
Black
Black
Multiverse
Multiverse
Theory
Theory
Podcast.
podcast. This week on the Multiverse, this is episode 355.
355.
Yeah, it is. You know what? I can't find my script. Hold on, everyone. Hold on. Oh, sorry, everybody. I can't find my script
Hey,
for today.
everybody.
So anyway, we are gonna keep it moving because I do not have my script in front of me and there's not much I can do about it.
Well, the funny thing about the Black Multiverse is a wonderful organization of thoughts where we come
Oh,
together in podcast form to enlighten, uplift, and to inspire the Black
okay. I
community.
like it.
This is when we come in here. Some people call this an infotainment piece. Some people call this just us shooting the breeze. But what it is just a place, a safe space for us to come together and talk about the topics that are in and are at hand. So we have things called the scroll, and we have local and outside of local, where we talk about things that are happening around us in our communities. And then we have things outside where we talk about things and how they affect us um, in our lives. So thank you for coming. I know we don't have a script, but impromptu,
I do have a script, but you did it.
there, there we are.
Good job.
We got the script.
That's why they call him Nigel the MC. They don't call him Nigel the forget the script.
Wow. The greatest part about it is we got lots of things to talk about. Shout out, first of all, condolences to my family. We have lost one of our patriarchs out there, my uncle Kendrick Batiste, who passed. And for those of you who are in the family and that are that know him and that have been around him, very funny individual. I've spoken to him a couple of times in the last recent years, um, but I've seen him, and very handsome man and very nice person, just all around nice person to talk to. So we want to send our condolences to um, my family who's
Your whole
grieving at
family.
this time,
Yeah.
for his immediate family, his children who are grieving personally right now where he is, and for his siblings that he has left behind, which includes my mom, who is dealing with that grief right now.
So
So,
sorry. It's so
shout out
difficult.
to Mama Zita as she is dealing with the loss of my uncle this today.
Absolutely.
Um, Shout outs to the Steel Heights Tigers and them getting back in for outdoor season. If you would like to see your child in outdoor soccer, please contact the CGSA
Mm-hmm.
and sign your child up. It's actually cheaper than all the other leagues that are out there in Alberta. So go ahead and sign up your child, and you'll be impressed, as we have very capable coaches, and I am one of them, and very capable
Ooh.
players that are coming out on a beginner all the way to intermediate to expert level. And we're here to have fun and to learn how to play as a team and as a community. So
Mm-hmm.
check out the CGSA, and shout out to the Steel Heights Tigers as we're going back at her again. I have two teams again, which are my U17s and my U13s, which involves three of my children that are out there. 3 out of 4. Any
Okay.
shout outs for you?
Shout out to all of my brothers and sisters in the Muslim faith who are celebrating Eid today. So Eid Mubarak to you. Um, I know everybody was kind of getting ready. I made sure, I think Monday I did some Eid hair because we weren't sure if it was going to be yesterday or today. But all of you who are celebrating and having a nice big feast tonight, um, happy
Happy
Eid to
Ramadan.
you. Eid Mubarak.
Happy Eid. Sorry.
Yeah, Eid Mubarak to you.
Yes.
Shout out obviously to like Uncle Mario. Also big shout out to Bill. Bill has been on, is on. Shout out to Karma and Ina always talks about watching the show. She's like, "You guys are so funny." It's pretty funny actually. So and then the other day Karma was like she puts on the podcast to go to sleep because she said my voice is very relaxing. So thank you.
Yes. Shout out also to Shral and Shayla as
Oh shucks, I didn't call Shral yesterday. I am sorry.
Shral and Shayla as they
Yes.
celebrated
Their
a birthday.
birthday.
They are one of the twins that we know, very special to us as
Yeah.
Shral has done the Raleigh's report.
She's a mainstay and a linchpin and a cornerstone of the community.
Yeah. She is.
I want to say happy birthday to you. I want to say happy birthday to you. I want to say happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. I like it. Last note at the end.
There you go. If you are joining us from the Black Multiverse group today, you have to give permissions in order for you to show up as anything other than Facebook user, just so that you know if you want to. Otherwise, you will be on here in secret, which is okay too.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not too bad.
It's a secret group, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We are going to move on to the first part of our show. This show is called The
Scroll.
Yeah.
Right.
I got there. Anyway, y'all, the scroll is the part where we deal with current events and stuff that's going on in the town, in the place.
Mm-hmm.
We start with local scroll. We move on out. Now, listen, I want to remind you, this is the Black Multiverse Theory podcast. Sometimes it can be called the lazy podcast because we're not fact checking. I'm not a reporter. I'm not calling people. I'm not confirming. I don't have any cards in my hands right now. So we want you to keep in mind that this portion of the show is actual, but not always factual. Yes, we're just like gossiping about the news, essentially.
The funny thing about Nilo saying, I wouldn't call it the lazy podcast. That's those words I wouldn't use. But here's the thing: because we are self-funded, we don't hire private investigators to go throughout the week to find out the information and find it on the stuff. So because of that,
we can only do so much. You guys,
we're just giving you what we got. If you got more, we are very happy to correct or to adjust what we've already had.
Mostly we're going to tell you that we're aware that we run a non-factual podcast, and that is part of the charm.
It's actual, but not necessarily factual.
It's part of the charm.
That's what it is.
It's really the emotions of what's going on, you know.
Shout out to Colin Brereton, who's on as well.
Hey, Colin.
Yeah.
Thanks for supporting all these years too, Colin. Been there.
Been there.
Yeah, that's a day.
There go my boy right there.
How does that day one song go?
You mean by Arlo?
Yes.
oh, right. Sorry, I was like, day one song, which one? th-
Now,
we
it was
celebrate.
a
Wait,
day one.
you're killing me here. I'm almost there.
Okay, ready.
When we na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
And then, okay.
Yeah. Trust me when that day comes. We
I
gon'
will
celebrate
celebrate
with
with day
day
one.
one. Middle
Yeah!
finger to the fake
Middle finger to
one.
the fake
Just know
ones.
to all the real
Yes,
ones.
shout out to Arlo for that
Bop, 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 bop,
banger
bop.
right there.
See, I had to give you the intro first.
Yeah, I was trying
That's
to warm you up. I was trying to
yeah,
when you
yeah,
try
yeah.
to get the chain on the spoke a little bit.
Just get it going, and then we're off. That's it. That was it. Trust me, when that day comes, we go celebrate with day ones.
Listen, when that day comes.
Yep.
All right, what do we got on the scroll today? Number one, those cane Corsos that mauled that little boy last week, RIP to him. That is definitely a tragedy. They have been put down. The thing about it is that there was a lot of people who were like not happy that these dogs were put down, even though they
Yeah.
mauled a whole human child.
Let me tell you something about animals. I know. First of all, shout out to Peter Lewis. We were just singing a song called Day Ones.
He said, "What
but
is this?"
He's like, what song is this? That's what, number one. The South Carolina Gamecocks. We'll talk about that maybe after when we figure that out, Colin. So we'll talk about that.
We speak.
Please, the South Carolina Gamecocks. So they're undefeated. So
Is this the Final Four stuff?
yeah, I don't know.
Basketball?
The Gamecocks.
Sweet 16?
I don't know.
Everybody, go
you
ahead.
look that up. So basically, when it comes down to the animal kingdom and humans, like men and women and humans, your pet will always come second to humankind. So if your pet is not trained properly, or if you train your pet to attack a human and that human dies, you're going to die. That human's going to die.
Even if you train your pet not to attack a human, because to be honest with you, anybody who's had a puppy will know that these people are wild creatures before you give them no, this is how you act like a human. Like right
like
now,
a regular person.
right now, my dog is able to be a regular person. Even if I put my hand in her mouth, she'll stop playing, no pressure. But she used to bite the crap out of me at every opportunity. And if you don't stop or train them out of that, then they become that behavior, I guess. I feel like they got off easy on this one because the fact that the people who owned the dogs weren't accessories, you know what I mean?
Now, let me be clear.
I say, dun dun. I just say that.
Let me be clear.
As a Law and Order trained professional.
Dilo is a pet owner, so we're not coming from a place of not knowing what it is to love and cherish your pet.
Sure.
However,
but I'm a child owner too.
However, when she says come off easy, she's not saying that this was lighthearted. She's not saying it lighthearted. She's literally just saying
I'm shocked that the owner
didn't get charged.
Yeah.
Right? Because the owners were warned. And these dogs have attacked before. This time, it was murder. Now, we all know remember what happened to, what's his name?
Harambe? Harambe barely looked at that baby. We didn't even know
Harambe didn't even attack the baby.
Save the baby or not.
Harambe was trying to protect the baby.
Lots of people said Harambe was protecting the baby.
Harambe was trying to protect.
For what? Who knows?
When you watch that baby, didn't even get hurt. That baby didn't even get hurt.
And Harambe still got murdered.
And they murked Harambe for sticking up for himself. So, listen. All we're saying is this. If you have a pet, please make sure that you take the time and the money. Do not take a pet. Don't be one of them people that your girlfriend buy you a pet, so now you got a pet, or your boyfriend got you a pet, and now you got a pet. Like, put the time in, treat the pet properly, train the pet properly. Don't have the pet running up on grandma, jumping up on granddad, scaring the lights out of them, mauling children. Try and train them, right? As Nila said, puppies are different. And
Boundaries
I
and
know a few
limitations.
kids, I know a few kids personally that bit other people, that bite people. So it's not just pets
Train your
that bite,
children.
right? You got to train your children not to
Train
bite
your children
people's
too.
backs while they're not looking. That's all I'm gonna say about that right there.
Listen, I'm sorry to everybody involved. That was definitely a tragedy. Sorry that those dogs weren't trained properly. They definitely posted a bunch of stuff that was like, look, everybody in the neighborhood has complained about these dogs already. So I don't know. These seem like repeat offenders. But RIP to that child who is
R.I.P.
the
to that
most
child.
who is the actual victim in the story.
Who was the
For real.
victim?
Yeah. Okie dokie. What was the next thing that we had?
The next thing that we got a
Power outage?
couple power outages happening here in the city. As you know, the prices of electricity has gone through the roof.
Through the
And
actual roof.
while that's happening, we are also having a power crisis.
Yeah. You guys, the electricity is doing all these wild and crazy things because let me tell you that my electric bill was like late, hadn't been paid in a little while. And the people put me on a thing called a limiter. Now, I have not paid my electric bill in a little while in the past. And I've not Nigel, thank you. Thank you for not being embarrassed for me. But listen, it's not only me. Anyway, my point is, so when I'm cooking, like whenever I draw a certain amount of power, they're like, not you using your stove and your oven and your microwave at the same time. And guess what they do, y'all? They just shut my whole thing down. So now my power bill has been paid, but allegedly, apparently, we have a general availability issue in terms of power. And I had never thought about that as as an Edmonton first world problem.
We've been able to use a lot of power. One thing I noticed from Care West over throughout the years is that when you have a restaurant and then you come into Care West with your tent, your food truck, your food tent, what you're having, and then you bring your big stove from your big restaurant in, it draws too much power. Sometimes you're buying this stuff secondhand from wherever it's coming from, whether it be China or Shein is making them.
Not shit.
No matter who's
Not
making
shit.
them kids be doing the stuff out there. So they be making the stuff, and you bring it down to Care West, it's drawing more power. But you live in an older part, or your restaurant is in an older part of Edmonton, so it's cheaper to rent there because none of the codes that are in place right now are in place there because they grandfather them in. So whatever codes you in, whatever power it's trying to draw, it's just going to draw all that power.
It's like, sure.
Yeah, you bring that
limit on power, not here.
You bring that to a breaker box in Care West, you're gonna get a real big surprise as it shuts your power off when it draws too much for safety speculation.
So the fact that we can just roll power up to a situation, and also I feel like the people they knew about this because there's a new apartment building that was built not far, and it has a generator. It has its own generator.
Boom.
So I'm like, oh, y'all be knowing. Like, you clearly knew something we did not know.
Well, these new apartments get generators now.
All of them do?
Yeah.
So where's the generator? The generator's
There's
clearly
a little
generating
box.
the power.
There's a little box that looks like what we used to have as a utility area.
Yeah, and it's a generator room.
And inside there's the generator room in the box that can run outside the whole of the building. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Just runs off of gas, and it keeps
everything on.
Yeah, it keeps the water lines from freezing, and just in case keeps people safe, right?
Listen, apparently there's rolling blackouts because my lights flickered several times. It wasn't a full outage for me, but I definitely had flicker, flicker, flicker. I always say that we're in the apocalypse. It's just nobody realized it was going to be this slow and boring, but this is what it is. People have gotten raptured. It's the plague. It's the, what's that thing called? It's the eclipse. We're living in it.
Yeah, for sure. For
You
sure.
can whistle as much as you
I'm not.
want,
Listen,
but we don't have
I
enough
was just
power for
clearing my palate.
everybody.
I was just clearing my palate. I was
The people said get generators, and now look, there's not enough power.
There's a lot going on.
There is a lot
As
going
we
on.
change. As we change, we got to move from the fossil fuels that we're burning anyways into something that's a little bit more
Better.
natural and self-sustaining, like solar.
All right.
Next is we have
It's actually on to exactly what you're talking about, which is Alberta gas prices being higher than Toronto gas prices.
right. Well, Alberta's prices are 159.9. Toronto is at 152 in most places, in the cheaper places, and 162 in the more expensive places, right?
And so we're right straddling that middle.
We're right in there straddling. We're a little bit more expensive than some of their lower places, but we're a little bit cheaper than their higher places. The thing about it is,
We're not supposed
most
to
of the
even be
most
touching them for gas prices.
most of the reason we're like this is because Toronto people have come here
Oh, I
and
thought you were
brought
gonna
their
say
bad
because
prices with
Premier
them.
Danielle Smith hates us.
Daniel Smith hates a lot of things, even
She
herself.
hates Alberta.
She needs to,
You have to hate yourself
she,
first.
she must
That's how it
kind of
works.
figure that out.
You have to love yourself first,
Yeah,
and if you're gonna
wow.
hate everybody the way she hates everybody, you gotta hate yourself first.
She
Because my God, I've never seen somebody who's like, yeah, murder them.
the first time she went into power, she was the leader of the Wild Rose Party, which the Wild Rose Party on its own was a little bit cowboy hickey-ish to
I
begin
heard
with.
it was a wackadoodle party.
It was a woo. You heard, anytime you heard you said murder, baby. Every time they
Those
were
are
drove
the
down the
people who
street.
kept black people out of Edmonton for so long.
And then we fast forward, she's into the party that she went up against and now leading that party. And you know what? This time around, she's like, I'm going to do it right. And she's
getting all the money from the
she is
people.
getting whatever money she can get while she's here because they're going to kick her out as fast as they put her in.
So fast. I love to see them turn their backs on black and women people.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
They like,
because
we just went through COVID. They're like, we didn't need to wear masks. And now defund the nurses, not defund the police, but
we've
the
been
nurses.
defunding the nurses the whole time.
Yo, the nurses work hard.
Even since Ralph Klein, I myself held a picket sign in Ralph Klein days. We've been defunding them the whole time. Apparently, it's the NDP who set up this system in the first place. Of course, whatever the NDP used to be called, I think the Green Party at the time. And ever since the Green Party set up this free medical system, those other people have been trying to destroy it. And ironically, Ralph Klein, if you guys know who that is, ended up getting dementia because of all the drinking. That's the other person with alcohol-induced dementia that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up getting put in, his wife couldn't deal with it. He didn't have big money, more money, no more. And then he ended up getting put into the same houses, nursing housing, that he had gutted in the first place, which is hecka sad, but also
tit for tat, baby.
Just saying.
So you said you held a picket sign?
Yeah, as a child.
Yeah. I think the both of us, you keep saying I'm not an advocate, but the funny thing is both of us have been on the picket line as a child. I was a baby when my mom put me in the stroller. I had me have a sign said my mom needs dough, so where's the bread or something like that. And I had a sign. I was a baby in the thing.
I like that my mom needs bread, so where's the dough? I like that. Good for her.
Well,
you would have thought you guys were protesting at the bakery.
she was there picketing with everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom's good like that.
Yeah. Okay, what else do we have on this list of things?
Well, we also had what everybody was supposed to not do or do was the eclipse, the great eclipse. Now, people. First and foremost, an eclipse is a scientifically proven phenomenon. This doesn't mean because our imaginations go wild that you're going to get superpowers of any type just because of an eclipse.
Well, not just because, that's for
A
sure.
lot of people felt that because of
Not
the
just
eclipse,
because.
you were going to come out on the other end of this eclipse
You gotta
flying.
You gotta have done your work to go in there. You may have come out with some things that you didn't go in there with, but you have to have been on the path doing the work. I'll tell you that right now.
Listen,
It's not just because of the eclipse.
This isn't a DC or Marvel movie. This is
No,
reality.
This is reality.
Reality. It's just an eclipse.
All of the multiverses allow us to experience all the different kinds of reality. And the most amazing thing about being a human doing, not being a human doing, but being a human being, is that you get to decide, if you do it right, which of the realities you get to experience. But if you're not doing your work before you went into the eclipse, then you're going to be the same guy coming out of the eclipse for sure.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I haven't seen a single person who could fly right now. So we'll see what happens.
You said fly. That's an arbitrary...
No, it's not.
You picked an arbitrary power.
Defying the laws of gravity and flying with yourself with no type of apparatus to help you fly, with powers on your own accord. Levitation.
That's what you need. You need to see somebody fly in order to believe in miracles.
It's not about believing in miracles. I believe in miracles. I just don't believe that you're going to get superpowers from an eclipse.
What's the difference between miracles and superpowers?
Everything. Science. That's
so if it's scientific, then it's a superpower. But if it's religious, it's a miracle.
Yes. How many people have you seen?
So that means it's the same thing.
No.
It is that, because for some people, science is their religion. So I have personally, I've never seen anybody fly with my own personal eyes. Okay. So I'll say I have never seen that, but I've never been everywhere in the world, and I've not seen everything in the world.
Based off of an eclipse?
If I am to believe,
are you talking based off an
miracles,
eclipse?
then anything is true.
Are you talking based off an eclipse?
I'm saying there are certain people who are on certain journeys in their lives who went into the eclipse and came out of the eclipse with different things happening than when they went in the eclipse. I don't know who's flying, if anybody's flying. I have no idea. But I know that there are people who went in and came out with different experiences.
Colin said this subject be deep, y'all. That's what he said. It is deep, Colin. Way
it's
deeper.
Not deep.
It's way not. Deeper than it needs to be. Let me tell you that.
It's not deep.
If you're in a solar eclipse,
it's not
you're
deep,
not you're not gonna be getting those superpowers. If you were doing work or different things, you may be getting superpowers, but it ain't because the moon went in front of the sun.
It's not just because of that.
Let me tell you something. I'm just gonna be straight up with you. It's not because the moon went in front of the sun. Let me tell you that.
It's not just because of that.
Next. Wow.
I hope you guys had a good eclipse. I stayed mostly out of it as much as I can be, sitting inside of Aphrodisiac. I don't know how to make this any bigger for you, friend. Mountaintop.
Yes. Nilo was invited to go see Mountaintop. Talk about it.
Okay, well, we caught up with director Pat Darby at the Citadel production of Mountaintop. Mountaintop will be running till the end of April. I believe it's April 22nd. I don't know the actual run dates, but check it out if you go to the Citadel .ca, I believe it is. You can get tickets right there on the website. It is a story about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and it reimagines his last night on Earth and what that could have looked like in sort of an imaginative way, um, and in a way that introduces us to MLK Jr. the man in a way that is more grounded and more down to earth than we probably interact with his imagery and his legacy on a regular basis, like more grounded. Um, so it was interesting. Sometimes that grounding can be shocking because, they're dealing with a person who is sort of revered. And so,
Let me tell you a little bit about my experience with Mountaintop.
oh,
First of all, Nilo, Nilo, God bless her. She's a fantastic person, and she gets opportunities like this, and was able to share this particular one with me at this particular time. But going in, for whatever reason, I've been very busy, very absent-minded myself, and very, very much not paying attention half the time when people are talking to me. Went to this show only knowing the date of the show. So I only knew that it was on a Thursday. And when I saw Pat, the director of it, and she's an amazing, lovely human being. And she was like, I heard you're coming to the show. And I was like, yeah. I didn't know the name of the show. Well, going in, I'm not gonna say I didn't know. I didn't remember the name of the show. I told Pat that I didn't remember a lot of what's being said, but I'm definitely going. Ended up going. Only found out it was about Martin Luther King as I sat there because I was like, "What's Mountaintop about? It could be, is it a journey? What is it?" And then I realized about Martin Luther King Jr. And then once I got into it, I was pleasantly surprised. It was wonderful. What a wonderful cast. I loved the set. The set was moving and there were things happening in the
the
set
set was
that
amazing.
made it beautiful and very enlightening. The actors, the main actors that were in there, they were fantastic actors.
The lighting was very good too. All
Very
the
good
set design
lighting.
lighting, yeah.
It was really nice. And I love films, theater, productions that draw the emotions from the audience. I feel like you're doing your job. If I watch a scary movie and I'm not scared, that movie bites. It's the worst scary movie. This is one of the reasons why I don't watch scary movies, because I don't really get scared very often. I don't. I pretty much guess who's going to be the killer or who's going to do the thing, and I know what's going to happen next. Not like when I was in the 80s and the 90s and you see a scary movie and then you dream about it for the rest of the night. It's not like that. So I
No.
get upset when this happens. This particular show was fantastic. The lady beside me was bawling. Pat herself was bawling. Like it was a one that brought out emotions out of you.
Oh, your
It was
mama.
great.
Oh yeah, though there was not a dry eye
Is
in
mom
the
on yours?
Yeah, she is. I'm gonna tell her what your picket sign said in a moment.
Oh, great, great, great.
The the there was not a dry eye in the house. Definitely once the lights came up, everybody was wiping their eyes.
My
So
eyes
they
were
did a great.
dry. And that's because
I
it hurt
couldn't tell because they're so big.
it hurts to cry.
With the lights reflecting off of them.
It hurts for me to cry. When I cry, it physically hurts me. So I try my best not to cry.
Shout out to Nathaniel from Cana Spirit Center.
Shout out.
Because he definitely read Gemini there. Mama Zita said, I must be fed. My mom needs bread.
There it is, right
That's
there.
what it was. Let's get this.
Yeah.
Let's get this applaud.
That was it. See?
I must be fed.
See, my mom is very creative. This is what she had. She had her baby have this. I was on the news.
Okay.
I've been on the news since baby time. So when you see me on the news in front of the camera, that's because
You've been.
I've been on the news.
Okay.
And for positive things, not for anything weird.
Okay, not for weird things, please.
Not for robberies or anything like that.
Not robberies. My God.
Yeah.
Um. Okay, what else we got? We have a meme. Oh yeah, so definitely go check that out. I would say 8 out of 10 stars. And the reason why it's 8 has nothing to do with the cast or any of that stuff. The reason why it's 8 is because I feel like we need to see more Canadian content, more Canadian written content, and I would like to see the people at the Citadel engage black writers, black Canadian writers, local black writers, and I'd like to
I
see what that looks like.
I give it 10 out of 10 stars. And the reason why I give it 10 out of 10
Okay.
stars is because we need to let the people in the theaters know that that kind of stuff is good.
Yeah,
It's
it is
going to
good.
bring a crowd.
Yeah.
It's going to do the things. It's going to
Yeah.
bring money into the box office. This
So
is what you need to see. You need to bring more of this. This is good stuff.
I get that. And to Nigel's point there, you guys make sure you take the time out to go see this because it's really, really
Great show.
important that we support each other so that we can see more of ourselves. Okay.
Darren Jordan had the 5 artist one, Love, got extended to April. I don't know if it's over yet now.
Oh, so you can still go check that out at the
At
AGA.
the AGA, yeah.
But check and see if it's still up.
If
Maybe it's
still
finished
up.
by now.
I
But
think it was middle of April.
oh, nice.
So I think this is the last weekend for it.
Okay. City Council, Edmonton City Council says yes to a $33 million city housing project.
We talk about housing crisis that's going on here in Alberta, and
Yeah.
it is horrible.
It's terrible. It is actually happening in other places in the world as well.
Mm.
What we understand is that the government, I don't know, I guess the feds said no for that housing, but the city council said yes, we're going to go ahead and do it ourselves. They said F the feds. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. They wouldn't use such strong letters. But they went ahead and said it. When you put the words like city housing project together, it conjures up a very specific image of a city housing project for me specifically. So I hope it'll be something cool and nice and affordable and will help to ease the issues that are happening today with housing. But in Australia, they have figured out a different way to ease this crisis.
Yeah, apparently in Australia, if you are an owner of a rental property or a investment property, and that property has been abandoned for over 2 years, squatters can legally squat in your house. Squatting is legal in Australia.
Which is not shocking to me. Colonizer. Anyway, see colonizer. The thing about
Prison Island.
Huh?
Prison Island.
Yeah. Like clearly squatting's legal there. That's
clear.
That's y'all's whole thing.
It's the whole thing.
In any case, so what has happened is that they're now putting together a list. And so you can get a hold of this list and figure out and find out a house that has been empty for a couple years, and you can go ahead and move in there and do whatever you have to do to get it worked out.
Yeah. One of the guys said on the interview
Yeah.
with the guy who made the list, he said, listen, are you promoting
if you didn't know already,
breaking,
they're Australian. Go ahead.
break it in to people's homes.
Break it in
to people's homes. And the guy's like, no, I'm not promoting breaking and entering is obviously illegal. I'm saying squatting is legal. Squatters are legal.
Squatters. Sorry, you guys. We'll get our Aussie accents together in no time.
We'll get it together.
We have a British friend now, so we stopped doing the British accent.
I have not.
I have.
I am not. I especially do when he's around. But the thing that I'm trying to
Terrence, forgive us.
but the thing I'm trying to do right now is is not say Hugh Jackman. That's my Aussie accent. It's always been my joke. Hugh Jackman.
Mine's definitely croaky. That's my way in.
That's it.
Rubbish. Croaky.
Garbage. It's garbage. So,
Squatters.
Squatters. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
We're done.
I'm gonna actively find more Australian news to report on.
Colin said, "Wow." All right.
Okay. Keith Lee.
Keith Lee. If you don't know who Keith Lee is who we talked about last week.
We talk about him pretty regularly.
Yeah, he's an amazing person, so we got to talk
like
about
him. So anyway, he went to Scarborough first.
Right.
Before we talk about this restaurant that the most recent restaurant that he went to. So he went to Scarborough 1st and he's like, okay, everybody. And if you guys saw this video, you're going to know what I'm going to say right now. He's like, today we went to Scarborough, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's like, Keith, where are you, babe? Keith has no idea where he's at all whatsoever. Anyway, he went to like a lot of interesting places. He went to some places that were already popular, but he went to a Bohemian restaurant called Old Nassau that is over there I think it's in Toronto. I don't think it's in the borough. And Toronto. And so, yeah, he went, he liked it, he loved it, he gave her high marks. So great for her.
Fantastic.
I was like, Keith Lee, come to Edmonton. I swear the food is good here. He's got a couple places he could go to. There's a couple places in Edmonton that are good. You wouldn't say so?
I'm just thinking about a place. Here's what I'm saying. Keith Lee, for me, has to go to a place that A, is different, B, has great food, and C, has great hospitality. Now, if you could get those three to exist all in one restaurant, sauce is probably one of the only ones that may have all three of those things. Now, different is key. That's number one. Great food is number two, and great hospitality. A lot of times you can get the great food and you can get something different, but you can't get great hospitality when you get there. It's poor customer service. So to get all three, it's a little bit more difficult than you think.
The trifecta.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you that Bungie Garland said that all shapes are okay, and he co-signed. Even if you're built like a triangle, but he said he co-signs an isosceles triangle specifically, but not the other two.
Okay, fair.
No equilaterals on the playing field.
There you go. Got to co-sign on those.
No right angles, please. Anyway, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, last one. Is it last? No.
This family of 6 that went missing and then showed up, but none of us can know what actually happened.
So before we go into J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, there was a black family from central Alberta. Their vehicle was found abandoned.
Right.
They are ranging from ages 18 to 13, the children, and then there's the rest. Adults.
Yeah.
So their truck was abandoned in Calgary. Last week, 3 weeks ago, Tuesday, they were found in Red Deer.
Right, but the thing
safe,
or actually not in Red Deer, a few miles, 50 kilometers west.
Yes, Rimbey.
Rimbey, which I happen to know because we need a button that's like, there's a base there. There's a base over there in Rimbey. It's where we learn to glide.
We should have a sound for that.
Yeah. It's where we learn how to glide. And the mosquitoes there are absolutely mind-bogglingly horrible. Like, if you think mosquitoes can't kill a person, you would change your mind there.
Apparently, according to the reports, due to circumstances that are confidential. The police can't tell
They
you
can't tell us what
what
happened.
happened to
I
this
don't
family
know.
that they found all the family members.
All I feel like, and you guys put me in my place.
Wow, and
If I am helping you look, I just want to know what happened. And I know one thing don't have nothing to do with another. You gotta help the people. We want to find the people safe. But I want to tell you, I'm Matt Cohen. While we're looking, I'm like, so what happened? Where they went? Who was it? What?
first
When
and
was the last time
foremost,
you saw them?
you got to think about it like this. Anytime you've ever watched an action movie with Jason Statham in it,
Mm-hmm.
and he saved the family,
Mm-hmm.
what happens in the news after the family gets saved? This is what happens. You
Right.
can't talk about the beekeeper because the beekeeper's not gonna is classified.
I
You
guess we
can't talk
can't know
about
what happened. I don't know.
on the beekeeper.
I'll know that I was closely connected to a tragedy once, and those people, the news people, they get you every way. They casually inbox you on Facebook. They get you through your business. Like they try to get you any way. So the fact that the news people are like, privacy, everybody. I don't know, you guys.
Wow,
That's all I'm trying to say.
that's funny. Your face froze like right.
Good, because I mean it. And now we're going to talk about J. Cole apologizing to Kendrick Lamar. So, Kendrick Lamar has actual beef with Drake. Drake and Kendrick Lamar have real life beef, much like many other people. J. Cole has, I want to tell you that I have many clients underneath 19 years old, and that's why I can know these things, by the way. J. Cole had one time spit a verse that was something like Drake, Kendrick, and me, something, something, big three, right? So he was like, the big three is him, Drake, and Kendrick. So Kendrick came back, and in that same feature, which whose song was that even? I don't even think it was Kendrick's song. I think Kendrick was on
Future and Metro.
Metro Boomin. That's who it was. So Future and Metro Boomin had this song out. So Kendrick came out and Kendrick was like, F the big three, it's just me. Which is a sneak side diss to J. Cole, but the real diss was about Drake because he has a bunch of Drake disses in there. Anyway, back when I was in the 90s and when I was listening to rap beef, they were very clear about who they were beefing with. But that's okay. We'll do it this way. I'm not at the wheel anymore. Anyway, so then J. Cole came back and wrote a get back to Kendrick Lamar. But then J. Cole went on stage and said that it made him feel yucky. He said it didn't sit right with he didn't use the word yucky, but he could have. He said it didn't sit right
Might as
with
well
him.
have.
I mean, to be honest, it was the vibe. He didn't sit well with him in his chest, in his stomach. He's been on a very
In his
specific
spirit.
in his spirit. He's been on a very specific path with God, and he felt like when he penned that verse, he strayed from that path. So he said he wants to go back to that path, and he apologized.
Yeah, and a lot of his fans thought, yo, the verse that he ripped was on point, on brand. It was like a lob back, right? You know, you're playing tennis, you get that hit back, and then you return what it is. Boom. Now we're playing the game. But Kendrick was like, listen, J. Cole was like, listen, I love Kendrick. So I just feel bad about this whole scenario. And then I even did the verse, man. He said it was the corniest thing he's ever done in his life. He felt it was real cornball stuff.
Shout out to No Name, the rapper.
I don't know his name.
It's No Name, and she's a girl. And sometime you'll remember this because we reported on it here in the Black Multiverse.
Okay.
Sometime during the George Floyd protests,
right?
No Name had just come out, and J. Cole had a diss track to this No Name, and everybody was like, "Why is J. Cole dissing this girl?"
That's what he's talking about.
No, I'm saying I'm still waiting for No Name's apology, but
for him to say the No Name.
Yeah.
I don't know
But
what beef that happened there. He was
but
walking differently. Maybe he apologized to her face.
who knows? He dissed her in public. He could apologize in public. Maybe he needs to make an apology track.
That was crazy.
Why? That is his job.
What you just said it's never been done before in the history of rap.
Okay,
So
it's a
it
new
is off the
day.
wall.
Now you see how the eclipse is affecting
Michael
us all
Jackson.
differently. We might get an apology track from J. Cole. You heard it here first on the Black Multiverse Theory podcast. All right, let us move on to the next part of the show, which we call the
Screen.
screen. At the screen this week, what are you watching, buddy?
Whew. Well, this week I told you last week I was watching Monk, but then I spun off and I watched Three Body
Problem.
I watched that Three Body Problem.
Yeah.
And then I spun off from that and I watched all the seasons episodes of Justice League, the cartoon.
Okay,
so
wow.
Let me just wrap those three things up for you. So Three Body, there are two types. Now, Three Body Problem is the Netflix series based off of the book Three Body. Three Body has a Chinese adapted series that you could only find on Plex. So if you know what Plex is, that's Plex. That is another broadcasting similar to Tubi and the other ones.
Streaming
site that you can get on your smart TV, and you can download it. It's one of those apps on your smart TV and online, and you can get to watch Three Body. Right? Now, Three Body, the Chinese one is the word 3 dash body, and you can find that on Plex. Now, if you're watching Three Body Problem, it's the number 3 Body Problem, and that one is on Netflix, and that one is actually visually stunning. But it comes from the two shows are the same premise behind them and about the same book.
Nigel was already onto the Three Body Problem, but definitely big shout out to Sherelle who put me onto that, who made me actually go and find it.
I watched all of Justice League. A couple weeks back, I watched all of Young Justice and decided to go back to Justice League. I watched all of Justice League. Wonderful, wonderful writing that happens there. It kind of gets a little crazy at certain times, but it's wonderful. And then once you're finished Justice League, you go to Justice League Unlimited, which takes the next step from there. What happens after Justice League, the season finale of Justice League.
Okay.
So there's that. And then there's Monk, as I told you. Monk is great. Fantastic. What are you watching?
I am not watching much. Most of the things I've put on have watched me. But there is a new Who TF Did I Have Kids With? That is not Who TF Did I Marry. It's a whole different person. This part's only 11 parts. But it's a guy who's in a relationship, and the person he's in a relationship transitions to a trans person, but also then again detransitions back to a woman later on in the relationship. And it is highs and lows, girls. It's up and down. Wow. So
this is on the flicks, on the streamings, on the TikToks,
on the tick-a-tack-a-toes, on the tick-toes. That's what I'm gonna call it from now on. On the tack-toes.
Interesting.
That's what Nancy Pelosi said. She said, "We're not trying to ban TikTok, tic-tac-toe." I was like, "What the heck is this lady talking about?" Anyway, yeah. So I've pretty much been watching social media, y'all. Everything that I tried to watch, X-Men 97. And I did get like 4 or 5 episodes in, but I 100% slept through much of it. So when I woke up, I was like, something about Sentinels. And then I decided I have to go back and watch that again. I also watched Three Body Problems. but I also fell asleep during that. So I kind of understand what's going on, and I think I can keep going because I slept through like maybe 10% or 20% of it, but the rest of them I have no clue. I have been going to the gym, you guys, and I've been exhausted. It's been early bird worming for me.
Okay.
And what is in your ears, mister?
In my ears, as I said last week, I've got Cleo Soul in my ears right now.
Okay.
But I've also got into organ. I have decided, as of late, to move to another level, one more level up as far as the organ is concerned. I've been at the same level for the last 15, 20 years almost with the organ, and I wanted to do more stuff with the organ and just make it sound the way that I like to hear it sound. So in process, while I'm working on my own project, I am pushing myself forward, heightened with the organ. So I'm listening to a lot of organ music. It is great. What about you?
I've been listening to a lot of soca music. As I said, I've been back in the gym. So my music selection has been key in terms of keeping me sane, keeping me engaged, keeping me there. And most recently, like today, I was listening to Jadakiss and specifically that Uncle Murda song called Warning.
Mm,
I find that it's like just over 5 minutes long.
mm,
So if you just listen to that song 2 times on the Stairmaster, then you'll be done. It's just
interesting.
like all the rapper verses on there. But it's like if you're at like a level 6 or 7 or 8 on the treadmill, then
Mm.
it's like a step. I'm getting money, getting money. Ooh, I'm getting money. Ba ba
Okay.
da ba da ba. Yeah. So I've been sort of listening to things that give me the cadence to do
To
what I
do the
found it
next
so
track.
difficult to do. So yeah, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of soca, but I've also been listening to a ton of hip hop. Sometimes I'm not in that soca like, oh, do cardio until your heart feels like it's gonna pop out. Sometimes just not in that vibe.
All right.
So yeah.
I get you. All right. I think we've gotten to the
Word.
last part. Yes, the word. It's my turn this time.
Your turn.
And it is great. But my word is more of a word to be like, okay. Because sometimes things are a warning for you, but you don't heed your own warnings. So, for instance, we had the eclipse this week, and there have been many eclipses beforehand. There are things that our parents and people have told us many times in the past, such as don't look directly into the sun,
Mm-hmm.
right? As a kid, I loved looking directly up at the sun. I loved to see this ball shining, and then I loved to look away and see this light or this spot
Mm-hmm.
in your retina as you walked
Mm-hmm.
away. And one of the things that people tend to do is fight back against systems that are placed in there for whatever reason the system is there for. Doesn't matter. Whether it's good for you, bad for you, whatever, people fight back. But your own warning in your own body teaches you your limits, it tells you what's going on in your life. Today was a day that for me where I was very low energy, dealing with the death that happened in our family and also dealing with different things that have been going on. I had a very low energy at the beginning of the day. And one of the things that my body was telling me throughout the day was to take it easy. Like, stop for a second, like, take a minute. And what happens to me personally is things that happen to me on the inside end up reflecting on the outside later. You don't see them right away on the outside, but later you see them, whether it be pimples on my face or hair falling out or just getting really tired. Those are the things that tell you that there is stuff happening internally, mentally. And for those of you who are listening, you're not alone. You're going through some stuff. You may be going through trials. They may be financial, they may be relationship wise. There may be anything that you may be going through that is causing you extra stress. And my thought process and what I'm going to give to you now is heed your own warning. Take a minute to reflect, to reset, and to renew. Because as you go into the next stage, just like we renew after the eclipse and we refresh after these different things, your body needs this refreshing. It needs the rest. It needs the renew. And you come back with new insight, new mindset sets, and new goals. And that's the word for the day.
Okay, it's all about the season of renewal.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. Yes, rest, renew, relax, and get ready to plant your seeds. Thanks everybody for tuning in to
Yeah.
another episode of the
The
Black
Black
Multiverse
Multiverse
Theory
Theory.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will see you again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.